Hello, welcome back to the run. My name is Beast, and today we're back with more ToHeart2. Let me just close this right before the temptation starts. Anyways, immediate warning. I have to work at 11 a.m. tomorrow, so I'm gonna end it early today. Another thing, I was literally just watching a fucking random ass Mega Man Star Force review before this, and let's just say that this, hold on, regulate sound. Nah, I shouldn't do it like that, I guess. Fuck. No. I'll just do it like this. I'll just play it. But yeah, let's just say that this clip made me laugh out, like, very hard. Probably harder than I should have.
Bud transforms and possesses the car so he can try to run Geo over. But Geo is so fucking fast that he can outrun a speeding truck for multiple blocks while having a conversation with Omega Sis. Before quickly...
I don't know why that one is so fucking funny to me. Context. Mega Man Star Force 1. The first boss is... Bud Bison being fused together with Taurus Flame, with the EM being Taurus to form Taurus Flame. With Taurus essentially using the fact that Bud was literally just being threatened by the Prez that she would cut their brother band if he didn't get his shit together, because he was one shot knocked out by the MC after the alien in his fucking weird wrist computer thing just like made him punch him. And so he's a bit emotionally unstable, considering that's literally what EM beings do. What aliens from planet FM do. They seek out humans that are in compromised emotional states, use that fact, and then manipulate them into, you know, helping them with their plans by literally taking them over. You know, and yeah, basically, Taurus Flame goes to the truck and starts driving. And here's the thing: if you don't press the A button consistently, Geo will forever outrun a speeding truck. Anyways, pull the door handle to the archives without any doubt, but it stays still and making a stubborn sound and not opening. If this was an RPG game, a message like "the door is tightly closed" would appear on the screen right now. This has been happening a lot lately. That thought is interrupted by a scrap of paper being raised beneath my feet. Looks like something written on it. It's addressed to me. Is it a message from Monica? Can't tell if it's Monica's handwriting for what's written. The contents said, "I want you to come to the library." Hold the scrap of paper, spin around, and head to the library. Is Monica here? It's only moments after class, but there's hardly anyone in the library. Inspecting from this side, I see no sign of her. Also, I just realized, hold on, fuck. Yep! Forgot! I'm dumb. Let's just do this. Anyways, I see no sign of her. The moment I turn to head into the room, a girl from the library committee that was sorting books on the shelf shuffles over to me and grabs my arm. Huh? What? She takes me inside. What's the... She doesn't give me any reason. Anyways, the destination is the same as I decide to let myself be taken there obediently. The girl takes me to a hidden corner and turns to face me anew. Why? Why? ToHeart2 Part 12. There we go. Now that's all nice and backed up, and I can actually delete those two. Nice. I wish she could have told me that earlier. Anyways, that's answer. Yeah, I noticed there's one more person here. This one also looks like a committee member, but just has both eyes looking up at me and doesn't open her mouth. Are these the chairman's instructions? If that's the case, I can only imagine what they basically have to say. Attack with the pawns first, eh?
ちょっとまた私なのだって
Having known me for a while, eventually the one who grabbed me by the arms begins
あ
talking.
の、委員長はきつい言い方しましたけど、図書委員がみんなそういう風に思ってるわけじゃ決してなくて、
Looks like I had the wrong impression.
むしろ助かってるというか、開花図書のバーコード化だって、そもそも小牧さんがいなかったら去年のうちに終わらなかっただろうし。
Really?
はい。設備の調達から設定まで、ほとんど小牧さんが自力で勉強してましたから、こんな風にスケジュールが押し迫ってなかったら、何の問題もなかったんですけど。
Schedule. It's first I've heard of this. The girls can't seem to find an easy way to talk about this without hesitation from time to
焦
time.
ってるんです、委員長。
She stares hesitantly at the
目に
floor.
見える形での業績を残したいみたいで。
There's 1 year left of school life for a third year, much less if you take away the examination periods. The reasons seem to be
で
visible.
すから、こんなことになって本当に申し訳なくて。
Both Monica and the committee chairman want to leave some behind. However, where they clash is about whether that should be something new or old. By all means, if that wasn't there, there would be no need for the friction. Simple difference of opinions. In the end, there are no good guys and bad guys. This is unbearable. Excuse me? Leaving the rear of the library room in deep thought, I just about run into someone else at the entrance. Although I managed to avoid hitting them head on, I had almost shut the door on them and bow meekly. I raised my head and looked back to the exit door. The other person turns out to be the committee chairman in question. Both of us say no more and pass each other with an unpleasant atmosphere between us. There we go. I can actually hear myself talk now. Leaving the library, I managed to walk past the entrance to the archive and turn around. The chairman had already gone. What if our standpoints were different? Would he be criticizing mine and Monika's side? Such thoughts suddenly crossed my mind. The scrap of paper wasn't from Monika, but from the committee members. It means I've made Monika awake quite a while. I rush out of the library into the archives, which reminds me, recently Monika has been falling asleep. There must be a lot going on. Unwittingly, I try to hide the sound of my footsteps. The cheers from the sports grounds far away are clearly audible. For that to be the case, the inside of the archives had quieted down. Isn't she coming today? Nah, the door was unlocked after all. As I take 2 or 3 more steps, I'm aware of the faint sounds of sleep breathing. As the bookshelves are so close together, I don't know where it's coming from. Because of the squeaking sound of the armchair, I could tell where the sleeping sounds were coming from. That sounded odd. She is sleeping after all. I feel like, as the bookshelves are close together, if it wasn't for the squeaking armchair, I wouldn't be able to tell where the sleeping sounds were coming from. I feel like it would sound better. Instead, I don't know where it's coming from. Because of the squeaking sound of the armchair, I could tell where the sound's coming from. Like, that just sounds awkward. At least to me. Am I going inside? I'm not. She is sleeping after all. It's just like last time. However, Monika is a girl who sure sleeps soundly. I think to myself as my heart starts throbbing and I stare at her sleeping face. Again, I'm doing exactly the same thing. She allowed me last time. I'm sure that's what she meant. Yeah. Therefore, this time too. Nah, is the permission from last time okay? Sure. For sure. Naturally, with Monika sleeping, she isn't going to answer. Standing away from Monika, I gulp. In order to wet my dry throat, I have to repeat the action many times over. Ahem. I clear my throat at that distance. I'll try my best not to make any unnecessary loud sounds when I approach her. Okay, now. I try to sneak up to her lips when I notice them. There are tears on her cheeks as though she cried herself to sleep. A gentle light leaks out from the curtains falling on Monika's face. I unconsciously stop moving. I even stop breathing. Just from thinking about the reason for her tears, everything goes white inside my head. Just like some other time, Monika opens her eyes. Unable to move anymore, I just look up at Monika. Awake, she remains lying down, but doesn't appear clear-headed yet. She seems to be in a cloudy state of both reality and dreams. Staring at me, the tears start pouring out of her eyes. She clings to my neck tightly. She holds so tightly that it's hard to believe she's still half asleep. I can't move an inch. The brightness of the sun outside contrasts with the absolute silence within here. It looks like time has stopped just in here. Monica whispers so close to my ears that it tickles me.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。高明くん、ごめんなさい。
For reasons unknown, Monica continues apologizing in earnest. She's still in a
わざ
nightmare.
とじゃなかったの。こんな風になるなんて高明くんを騙すつもりはなかったのに。
Her lips are
こ
quivering.
んなことになるなんて。ごめんなさい。
Even if she's half asleep, she continues apologizing profusely. But even if I want to figure out what she's saying, I can barely breathe. What is she trying to say? What's with the words deceive, sorry, and so on? And what with the words deceive, sorry, and so on, there's nothing but unease coming from her mouth. What's she getting at? My own confidence starts wavering. With our time being fun together and spending her birthday together, that wasn't all a pretense of mine at all. I'm afraid of what she will say next, but the answer wasn't to be.
ごめんなさい。
Manaka hastily pulls herself away from me. Looks like she was finally out of her half-asleep state. Her embarrassment is so great that she can't look at me squarely in the face and looks elsewhere. Manaka stands there with her fist in front of her mouth, silent. She won't explain any further. Neither what she was going to say, nor the reason for her tears. Just...
怖い夢を見たの。
She states the truth as though speaking to herself.
今そうなってほしくないことがたくさん一度にのしかかってきてたくさんごめん。
Her whispering voice fades away and she becomes silent again. Monica doesn't say anything relevant, only apologizes. Come on, where were the balls from Yuma's route? Where were the balls from Yuma's route? Come on, just hug her. Just hug her. You don't even need the balls from Yuma's route. Fucking Yuma route, Takaaki. Just straight up said he will make her happy. No fucking questions asked. Without a fucking doubt in his mind. And he committed destruction of public property for his girl. Yeah, come on. Get like half the size of the balls of that man. Looking at Monica hanging her head, she looks to be barricading herself off and completely forlorn. Basically, because of Monica's stubborn manner, she can't believe that anyone would do even one favor for her. No wrong, there's one thing she's terrified of. Putting it simply, someone taking care of her. She's too afraid of when the favor is directed at her. Monica's afraid of being loved. What she was saying when she was off asleep worries me, but for now I'll try to forget
びっ
it.
くりしたよね。ごめん。
Monica tries hard to smile. Her actions leave scars on my soul. Even if I forgot the pain, the wounds are still there. I want to do something to comfort her. I want to do something to put her at peace. But if she can't tell me what is troubling her, that I don't know what I can do. In the end, I act out of sheer desperation. I reach out to Monica's head and remove her hair ornaments. In response to my sudden action, Monica can do nothing but be flustered. I don't even know if it's going to help change anything. Sit down. Put my hand on her shoulder and sit her down on the sofa. Without knowing what's going on, Monica obediently sits down and moves to the rear of the sofa. As I run my fingers through her hair, I try to calm her down. Scared of sleep? I whisper to the bundle of hair on the back of her head. Even though she was flustered at first, she nods slightly. Before long, she closes her eyelids. I untie her hair and begin diligently straightening it. She can't explain without saying anything. I try to convey to her that someone cares a lot about her feelings. Even if it's just to make her a little better than yesterday. I stroke down Monica's hair in deep thought, repeating over and over affectionately. The strain in Monica's body starts easing. Eventually, with the repeated actions of my clumsy hands, the tension in her body abates. The white lemon fragrance coming from Monica's hair also lightens the atmosphere. It's miraculous. Even though I used to be unable to touch a girl, stroking Monica's hair like this is very calming. I comb up the remaining strands from the left. Even now, when I expose the white nape of her neck, my heart starts pounding. Even though I've finished straightening out her hair, I hesitate to tell Monica. I must soak in this atmosphere between the two of us a little more. Reach out to Monica's hair again. But now I can't use the excuse of straightening out her hair as the reason. I have no further excuse to touch her hair. My outstretched palm ends up stationary in midair. If I put my hand down now, it would change something between us. It's just a little more courage. Explain it any better than something that words can't express. Us. Has Monica fallen asleep? She doesn't move at all.
来ないのかと思った。
Monica mumbles with her hair
そ
hanging.
したらなんだか
She spoke with a little hesitant. She spoke just a little hesitantly. However, the words were no longer moist with tears. It was just a little late. Even I thought I was putting on a good, gentle voice. It was probably because Monica was depending on me. I was no longer impatient. That's because I knew I was capable of making someone peaceful. It was just a little, but my confidence stepped up a notch. Just with that restraint, I changed from not hurting anyone to being able to help them. That might well be the meaning for my existence. From zero to not completely useless. Today's setback really ended up being a plus. As far as concerns me right now. That's right before my very eyes.
高明くん、昔話を聞いてくれる？
Yeah. Monica takes a deep breath and starts talking softly, breathing out softly in one long breath.
ある時あるところに女の子がいました。その子は生まれつき体が弱くて、毎日が家と病院との往復。部屋で、車内で、病室で、窓から見える景色が彼女にとって世界のすべてでした。
Is this your story? Monica shakes her head.
妹、
She mutters that as the whole answer itself.
一つしか離れてないから、物心ついた時から両親は妹にかかりきりで、私高いしてもらったこともないの。高明くんが初めて。
You could sympathize with her from that little set. She probably had very little contact with her parents as a child. She was expected to be restrained, and that's why she's a bundle of restraint. She never had what she desired. That's why if they were never beside her, then they'd never get her any presents that she wanted.
ある意味、他人よりも遠い。
She says, putting on a bitter smile and feeling her self-derision. I notice she looks slightly over her shoulder, but she doesn't show me her facial expression.
ひどい姉だよね。妹のことこんな風に言うなんて。
Having self-deprecated herself, the bitter smile leaves her face.
その妹がここに入学してくるかもしれないの。新しい治療法が確立したとかで、通学に必要な体力を維持できるかもしれないって。
There should be something to be pleased about, but Monica's expression clouds over
で
more.
もそれだけじゃ足りないのよ。あの子、限られた人としか接したことがないのに、うまく溶け込めるか。
Don't worry, she's Monica's little sister. I try consoling her, but Monica just quietly shows me more shaking of her head.
とうまくいかないこともあるはず。そんな時は
Monica raises her face and looks out over the
折
archives.
れるまで戦わないで。ここに来て思い出してほしい。この世界はこんなにも素敵なことに溢れていることを。自分の悩みは自分一人のものではないことを。誰もが苦しんでいることを知ってほしい。
So this is why Monica is fixated on the archives. Why she continued working till now in spite of it being such a neglected place. If you didn't know the circumstances, you'd think her actions crazy. But clearly there was some impetus for Monica's firm resolve to begin with. Really though, couldn't she have picked an easier way to doing it? If she had just thought up some other way, really. Doing it so clumsily, awkwardly, stubbornly. An habit of hers is just being kind to
明
others.
日見舞いに行くの。
You didn't need to say who.
高明くんにも一緒に来てほしい。
Silence. Without enough time to answer, she revokes her
ごめん、
words.
私高明くんに甘えてばかりなのにまた甘えようとしてる。
I'll come. I decide what my answer would be. After a while, I'll tell her again. I'll come. She sinks into silence after muttering one more thing.
デートじゃなくてごめんね。
Skip.
じゃあ校門前で。
Manaka came to inform me as soon as class ended. even if it's when going to the archives, even when meeting to go shopping, we aren't to exit from the classroom. That's the implied rule. So now, wait, turn on my heels and call out to Monica. Do you have something to do before we go?
そうじゃないけど。
Alright then, I'll take Monica's hand, secretly where it won't be noticed. Let's go together. Suddenly Monica's eyes widen as she's on the verge of blushing, looking hesitantly all around. Yeah, that's right. She was embarrassed because of my actions. So, let's go. I'll pull her hand. If I pull hard, our hands would come apart. That's how light the grip is. She embarrassingly lowers her head and follows me, being held. The road to the hospital follows the same path I always take to go home. The general hospital that Monica's little sister was admitted to was on the same high ground as the school. We'll say it. This man did show some balls at least. Manaka-Route MC, before he decides drastic actions, wouldn't have held her hand in the middle of the classroom, I feel. Like, thus far, Manaka-Route MC really was just the fucking worst one. Like, just pure stubbornness on... No, I don't like her. Like, quite annoying even. Anyways. Their general hospital Monica's little sister was admitted to was on the same high ground as the school. The connection to the school is slightly downhill, then up again. With me in front and Monica behind, we travel down the hill road holding hands.
私、全然いい子じゃないんだよ。
Monica mutters a little along the way, making a finger drawing the outline of her own soul. Although you could say the bonds were unfastened around her heart, it was so little that it was like a trickle of water seeping out, just how Monica always is.
自分でも分かってるの。私、遠慮しすぎだってこと。だって、欲しいものに限って手が届かなかったから。もう欲しがることも苦痛で、外とのチャンネルを閉じていたら、いつの間にか周りは分からないものだらけ。気がついたら、ひどい人見知りで。
Monica follows the outline of yesterday's discussion in the archives.
そしたら、妹が同じ学校に来るかもしれないって言うじゃないの。
When?
話だけはずっと前からあったの。
A sigh, probably an unconscious act.
妹って結構プレッシャーなのよ。妹が同じ学校に入ってくるのって恐怖以外の何者でもないよ。
Now we also know why she was so focused on calling Konami his little sister, even though she wasn't.
だって学校の中での姿とか見られるんだよ。
At home, she's a daughter and an older sister, but nothing more than another person amongst a huge crowd outside. For that very reason, family is important. That's why she feels guilty about the family part. Also, hold on, I'll get some fucking tissues because I ran out of here. I'm back, and I grabbed 3 whole fucking packs.
私には何もなかったから、妹に誇れる自分を見せるには、何にもできない私には、人のために尽くすしか他になかったの。みんなに頼られてる自分しか。
Self-confidence is determined how much you are needed by others. Monica wanted to make herself stronger by being reliable while fervently denying her weaknesses.
妹にいい格好を見せたいだけ。好きで人のために働いてるんじゃない。みんなだって、私は人格のないただの委員長なのよ。
She was being kind to others just for the sake of her own self-confidence. Those around her just using her. That's not true. I know how much all our classmates depend on her. Monica's excuse for being kind in the end is just Monica's kindness itself. But if I say that, she probably won't accept it. even reserved about receiving thanks. That's how she's gonna be, then I'll turn around, and there in the sunlight is a slightly sad-looking Monica showing me a smile. I'm a little nervous. I feel strangely restless and stare mindlessly at the elevator display showing what level we're on.
どうしたの?
I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
後ろめたいことなんてないのに.
And so, I get off the elevator and follow Monica. If I look guilty now, I'm sure the people will look at me as some kind of degenerate. Watch somehow Monica's little sister be like this, or like, yes, she has it, so it's mine type of deal. So she just throws a massive fucking tantrum. She's like, I want this guy, and he's just like, nah. It's not gonna be the case, but it would be weirdly funny. Monica smiles the usual smile at the nurse station while I walk further on into the corridor. It's been a long time since I've been in a hospital, and I'm recklessly looking around. In the corridor, lined up a few bottles of antiseptic hand wash. I wonder if that's what explains the hospital smell. Monica stops in front of the wardroom. She knocks twice.
どうぞ.
Slightly childish sounding voice immediately replies. I nervously follow Monica, all flustered, into the room. Resting bitch face much? Jesus. Hold on. I probably should have muted myself for doing that, actually. Sorry about that, hold on. Alright, I'm back. It didn't help a whole lot. Anyways, I had this vision of a hospital being so white and empty that it hurt the eyes, but this room had warm-colored painted walls, and many soft objects were placed around the room. Looks like a private room. On the one bed is a small girl seated with her legs tucked under a blanket. I say small, there's one difference from us. Probably from living so long in the hospital, she gives the impression of an incredibly slender body. There's no doubt that these two are related by blood, with the facial features and the cheeks and so on looking so much like Monica. He's about half Monica's size, but gives off the impression of some kind of cheekiness to her. I haven't heard her name yet. I should have checked out her name on the nameplate on the room.
気分はどう? ぼちぼち. 朝方は指先がピリピリしてたけど、今は大丈夫。
I don't know if this is what they usually talk about without finding an opportunity to cut into between the conversation. I watched the exchange between them for a while.
母さんは? 急に来れなくなったって連絡あった。洗濯よろしくだって。わかった。それと、この人は?
Monica's younger sister looks briefly towards me. As a matter of fact, many times our glances briefly crossed paths.
こちら、同じクラスの河野孝明くん。クラスの用事の途中で、ちょっと寄らせてもらったの。
Hello. Bowing my head lightly, I see a well-calculated smile come across her face.
足手まといの妹です。
She says jokingly. Saying such a thing while smiling so sweetly makes her seem so malicious. Monica puts on a sad face in response to her words. Monica's sister again looks
よろ
mildly.
しく、お兄ちゃん。
You too? Monica tries to hide the washing that she's collecting and relentlessly walks over to the door.
高明くん、ごめん。そうやってくつろいでて。
She says and leaves the room. And suddenly I'm left behind here. The two of us left alone despite it being our first meeting. The two of us are left alone despite it being our first meeting. I don't have any background information about her and I have nothing to start a conversation with. The uncomfortable situation just deepens. However, they are... hold on, did she see her? No, she's just her little sister. No name. However, there appears to be a discrepancy in how uncomfortable I feel compared to Monica's sister. Discomfort, as how should I put it, some different compared to her childlike appearance. May just be my imagination, but it feels like she's sneaky or unprepared. Even more so by the way she's described herself. My suspicion abounds. She looks me up and down in a rude way.
姉もようやく男の趣味が良くなってきたね。
What the fuck? She says and puts on an inhuman smile inappropriate for a child. In contrast to her words, she gives no impression of that being praised.
姉は見えても男がいないとやってけないタイプでさ。
Oh well, I let out a sigh and accept that Monica's little sister does mean it that way. Her narrowed eyes, expression, and pointed mouth certainly seem to have malicious intent.
自分が何人目なのか教えてあげようか。
Tell me. I say challengingly. At least if there's some give and take, I might figure out something about this person. Monica's sister's eyes widen with slight surprise.
今度のは手強そうね。とか言ってもダメか。
Is this how it's gonna be? What are you trying to prove?
別に。
You horse around with everyone who comes here like this?
命が薄いとね、いろんなことを思うようになるの。
Monica's little sister shrugs her shoulders in a disinterested manner. Her behavior shows how seriously I was deceived by thinking she was a child. She's the real deal. Child, not
あ
one
んたみ
bit.
たいにせっかくの命をなんとなく過ごしているだけのやつはもちろんだけど、姉のように何にでも一生懸命なのも不愉快なの。
She casually just spits it out without even a hint of
だから
shyness.
ね、ちょっと困らせては気を紛らわせてるってわけ。その点、姉はコンプレックスの塊だからうってつけなんだけどね。
Wait, so that means... Seeing me get flustered, Monica's sister puts on a broad grin.
昔々あるところに哀れな娘がおりました。
He doesn't answer my query directly, instead resorting to legend storytelling. Seeing her do it like Monica once did, I shut my
病
mouth.
弱な妹が何かとひどい目に遭わせるのです。娘は意地悪な妹にも真心で尽くしましたが、妹の仕打ちが止むことはありませんでした。
However, this is just the beginning and it was soon to end.
昔話だと意地悪な妹が死んでハッピーエンドだよね、これ。
Having become Soul in herself, her facial expression returns to normal and she looks at me
み
again.
んな知ってるよ。姉が本当は人見知りすることも、男が苦手なことも、小さい頃から寂しい思いをしていたことも。
With that little she just said about Monica, she managed to enumerate all her older sister's complexes.
姉はね、私が自分はいらない子だと思わないよう必死なのよ。そう思ってるのは自分なのにね。
I feel daunted at her unexpected comment. Coming from a childlike mouth, it's even more scathing. How would you do be blood related?
たとえ身内でも他人の不幸を願うのは人間の本能みたいなものでしょ。そうすれば相手の中で自分の占める割合が増えるわけだから。こいつじゃないよ。行くのいくの全然育ってないけどね。
With the emphasis on the second part, she puts on a bit of smile.
知ってる？こういう言い方すると姉は本当に悲しそうな顔するの。
She says that without a hint of malice.
せっかくプレッシャーに感じてくれてるんだから期待に応えるべきだと思わない？
Some simple evil intent is boldly evident. Don't give me that shit. I'm at a loss for words. I barely squeezed
で
that
も
out.
結果オーライじゃない？姉は尊敬される姉になろうと頑張ってるわけだし。それに
She puts on a smile of supreme bliss as though tormenting a little bird ensnared in a
他
trap.
人には関係のない話だよ
She
ね。
shows me a smiley
このこ
face.
とを姉に知らせる？どうぞご自由に。でも
Here I am at a complete loss for things to come back with, and Ikuno is so
あの姉の
garrulous.
ことだから。よほどのことがない限り、あなたについていかないと思うよ。だって、人を見捨てられない人だから。
Sound like she has to abandon anyone.
そうでなくても、そう感じちゃう人なのよ。あの姉は。どうぞ、遠慮なくやってみて。私から姉を引き剥がせるか。
She says and shrugs her
ごめん
shoulders.
なさいされるのがオチでしょうけど。
Angelic smile, maybe angelic, but there isn't even a hint of affection in it.
ごめんね、妹の面倒見させちゃって。
It was no trouble, really. All I was doing was standing around. Besides, I constantly glance over at Ikuno. Ikuno's a good girl. She pokes her tongue out at me, naturally in a way that Manaka can't
す
see
ぐに
it.
済ませるから。
Manaka finishes folding the wash, still warm from the dryer. She stops suddenly. She notices.
私、イクノの名前言ったっけ？言ったよ。
Yeah, I asked her. When I leave the hospital, the sky of the west is painted deep red. The color spreads out from the sun, and before long, the whole sky was painted with it. Our bodies are half glowing the color of the evening sky as we walk down the hill road side by side.
たまにせがまれて、イクノに学校の話をするんだけど。
As we walk along our steps in rhythm, Manaka talks about her younger sister along the
その
way.
中でも妹が興味を持ったのは図書室と桜並木の話。
The discussion was headed to an explanation of why Manaka chose the archives for a refuge. As her older sister, who is uncomfortable around boys, I doubt she would be telling her something as outrageous as the fact that I'm playing a part of a pseudo lover. Hearing everything unfold feels a little like finding out the secret trick behind magic. Yes, indeed, there were other reasons. It's like a gaping hole opened up in my chest. That's how sad she was feeling. That's how sad the feeling was in me.
専門的なことはわからないんだけど、
That's how Manaka brings up the topic before
妹
continuing.
の病気というのは本当ならばい菌とかから体を守ってくれるはずの仕組みが妹自身を攻撃するというものらしいの。目覚めとか体が痛むらしいんだけど、あの子弱みを見せたがらないからいつも平気な顔して。
Understand the burden of that disease, but that never-ending impudence makes it hard to feel sympathy for her. Are they really
こ
sisters?
こ数年は視力も衰えてただでさえ狭い世界なのに。
She sniffs a few times, then puts on a new
でもね、
expression.
新しい治療法とかいうの始めてから随分と元気になってきたんだよ。科学の進歩とかやたらと否定したがる人もいるけど、実際そのおかげで元気を取り戻したあの子を見てると、ああいうのってただのポーズだってことよくわかる。
Manaka appears to realize her discussion is sidetracked and shuts her
あ
mouth.
と視力が回復すれば通学に必要な体力を維持できるらしいの。
With the evil man, she looks able to return home immediately, but things are quite different to how they appear. There are other things that Manaka knows that I
網
don't.
膜の血管をどうにかするらしいんだけど、視力の回復手術3日後なの。本人の意思で難しい手術じゃないそうなんだけど。
Manaka hesitates. He says it's not a difficult operation, but she can't hide the unease in her expression. Is it the operation itself that she objects
でも
to?
万が一ということもあって、その時は失明ってことも、もしも姉の姿を見せてやれるのは今が最後なのかも。だからせめて姉らしく。
I want to comfort her, but even the doctors can't guarantee her the uncertainty, so I can't help but be at a loss for words. Far from being able to ease her nervousness, she's the one who's trying to set me at ease.
高明くん、
Manaka, who is hanging her head, looks up at me. The quivering eyes are welling up in the evening
最
sunlight.
初から何も知らない方が幸せだったのかな。調子に乗って学校の話なんかしなければ行くのも手術を受ける気にならなかったのかな。
Skip.
なかったね。
Yeah. With the bookshelves between us, our backs are to each other as we both mutter. God, I hate blowing my nose. Oh, despise it with a fucking passion. It always feels wrong, man. With the bookshelves between us, our backs are to each other as we both mutter. Both Monica and myself are exhausted from the book search, so we're stretching our legs out on the floor. Our aims were never met, but somehow we always hoped it would. As we came with nothing, the pressing feeling of our being fruitless effort grows. Isn't there somewhere we haven't looked yet?
あと探してないのは辞書とか訳本とか。
There's no point expecting the impossible. I'm not sure who let the sigh out this time.
そうそう美味しい話は転がってないよね。
That's for sure. Put my hands behind my head. Is there another means to turn this into a success? Putting everything on this bet.
賭け事はダメだよ。あんなの期待値が元金を超えることなんてないんだから。
No, this is an odds and evens match.
それ当たること前提にしてない？
This time we both sigh. This keeps up, then even when we're in the archives, we'll only be depressed. Isn't it about time we went to visit her?
そうだよね。
Alright, why don't we return the books we've removed? Stand up and stretch, my bum has gotten washed all flat. I don't get the impression that she has stood up on the other side of the bookshelf. Huh? What is it?
東大元暮らし。
What? Circle around the bookshelf and find Monica on all fours peering into the bottommost
う
shelf.
ちの学校の卒業生に海外の文学賞を取った作家がいるんだけど。
Monica starts talking without averting her eyes from the shelf. It did? What are you talking about?
私たちが生まれるずっと前。
How could you have known
記念
that?
館もあるけど役所の近くに。
She glances ever so briefly over at me and looks back
思
immediately.
い出した。その作家一時期海外の小説の翻訳もやってて、確かその人それを母校に寄贈したとか。
Don't tell me. I follow Monica's eyes and look at the book spines also. Are these it? Monica
翻
nods.
訳本は盲点だったかな。
Not only that, but in excellent condition. It's sad that after being donated, they were never read.
元の作品が頻繁に現代語訳されてるから、ハードカバーの古い訳をわざわざ読む必要なんて普通はないし。
Monica finally reaches out to the bookshelf.
これが初版本だったら。
Gulp. We swallow in unison. Monica opens the hardcover and pulls out from the shelf. She pulls out from the shelf and I look over her shoulder to peek at the page. Inside it says 6th edition. My shoulders unconsciously slump. Oh well, that's about right. Monica stares intently at the inside details. What is there written? What is written there that's got her attention? What is written there that's got her attention so much? Monica points out the publication date, 1967.
確か
She rumbles to herself while pulling away. Standing up and heading to the computer terminal, I hastily followed. She pounds on the keyboard on the PC connected to the net so hard it sounds like it'll break.
文学賞の受賞が1968年。それを機会にこのシリーズは新装版に切り替わってるの。第6版はその直前、ほんの数ヶ月という短期間だけ発行された。
Is that like the 1990s coins?
そんな感じかな。新装版では作者の過失が入ったんだけど、実はほとんど世に出ていない第6版の時点から修正は入っていたの。
My head's gone into a spin. What does that mean?
初版と同じ想定で唯一の完全版。しかも市場にはろくに残ってない。
Monica was investigating the price it could fetch at auction. The figure showing on the display is disappointing. As my expectations were raised, a surprisingly ordinary-looking bid was a
でも
letdown.
ない。戦後の本でこれだけの値がつくって相当なものだよ。それに全6冊揃って状態も良好。
A rare book that makes millions is a kind of pipe dream. However, that's forgetting that there are 6 volumes in total. Is it enough to buy more bookshelves? Trying to do the arithmetic in my head, I can constantly hold my breath. So, do we put it on this for sale? Put it on for sale immediately? Monica raises a thoughtful finger. After a little while, she leans back in her
やっ
chair.
ぱり図書室の本を勝手に売ったりできない。
But
判断は図書委員会に任せましょう。
Monica
と
smiles.
悪いようにはならないから。
In the beginning, the committee members showed great doubt as they were given the information, but then one by one they became astonished. Then all the members present finally understood the situation. The library room became just a little rowdy.
ちょっと待って。私たちじゃわかんないから、委員長。先生に聞いてみるから。どうして古本ぐらいで大騒ぎするの？あんたバカ？これって気象本ってやつよ。だよね。なんでどうしたの？小牧さん、話聞かせて。
Monica's overwhelmed by the committee members crowding her and steps back.
私、お見舞いがあるから、高明くん、あとお願いね。
Hey, wait! I'm coming too! We escaped from the library before we got surrounded. Even while waving hands in apology at the voices calling out to use us to stop. To us to stop, we gave no indication of slowing down from our double-time escape. On the road home after leaving the library, as we're descending the hill road, the two of us running double time. At some stage, we broke into the rapturous laughter. I wonder if that was the influence of appraisal television programs. They shouldn't have been so flustered.
テレビではいいとこばかり映してるけど、実際にお宝に遭遇するなんてめったにないもんね。
Eventually, we ran out of breath and stopped running. Monica and I both calmed down. Things seemed to have taken a good turn. Sure things will go fine for your sister too. Monica nods hesitantly. I'd really like to believe that today anything and everything will go well.
一人で来るとは見上げたものね。姉が連れてきた人だもん。でも、ナースコールは握らせてもらうわよ。
Don't worry, Monica will be here soon too. I closed the door behind me, despite the girl looking like a little kid before me. I'm overly self-conscious, probably because of the previous meeting. What's this? Pile of items from visitors on the toilet table. I am at a party.
親戚連中よ。手術が近いから。
Ikano doesn't try to hide the disgust in her
こ
voice.
んなに持ってきて、入院患者が食べきれるとでも思ってるのかな。役に立たないものばかり。花束なんて最悪。
Putting a bunch of flowers is meant to guarantee to make girls happy, but that just seems to be a myth perpetuated by superstitious people. The example is right in before me.
あなたのお見舞いは？
I wish I'd brought at least a potted plant. I show her my empty hands and sit
プレ
down.
ゼントって本当に難しいよね。相手のことを理解しているだけじゃ足りなくて、相手のことをいつも見ていないとは欲しがってるものなんてわからないんだから。
I'm a little startled by her saying the same thing as Monica. I have no reason to be flustered, but I find myself unconsciously looking around the room nervously. Anyway, you have a lot of fruit from the southern countries. And those bunch of relatives go on an overseas trip.
海外からの生物の持ち込みは禁止よ。
Ikano shrugs in a manner unbecoming of her age. Nah, there's one great difference between us, and it's that she's not as... as she looks wet.
その多彩な色が目的なのよ。
The impression Ikano's tone gives is that they're
万
useful.
が一のために今のうちにたくさんの色を見せといてやろうってこと。
If she understands that much, she shouldn't be saying mean things so
いつだ
frankly.
って同じ。大人の無神経さに多感でいたいけな少女のハートはもう傷だらけよ。
Right.
生まれた時からこんな性格だったと思う？だ
Well,
ったら周りの責任よね。
transferring the responsibility to her environment, Ikano leans towards the window and brings her water pitcher to her mouth to drink. Lowering the pitcher from her mouth, she stares at my
正
expression.
直に言ったらどう？気に食わないって。
Don't you know you can't say that? I forget who I'm speaking to and my tone gets harsh. His hateful attitude is probably another means of Ikuno defending herself. Does understand the other person's true feelings. Do you think a brat that gets carried away with using her illness as a cover will be loved? Ikuno shows no response to my scathing question, just puts her finger in front of her mouth
パ
thoughtfully.
ンツ
What?
スカートの中は下からじゃないと見えない。
What are you talking about all of a sudden?
弱い立場の人間には嫌でも目に入るってこと。他人の本音ってやつが。
He skillfully sidestepped the discussion, so I just shut my
まあ
mouth.
病室と家との往復じゃ他にやることもないし、
Is that why you tease your kind-hearted sister?
弱い者が強い者をいたぶっちゃダメなの？
Stumble again at surprising a rebuttal.
逆ならいい？あんたから見て姉はどう？もちろん男としていたぶりがいがある？従順な女を組み敷くのはどんな気分？
What are you talking about?
軽いジャブでしたの？
I spurt the water cup's tea out of my mouth at full force. What are you on about all of a sudden?
何言ってるのよ、このけだもの。恋なんて性欲でしょ？けだもの。
Stop calling me a beast. You got to think a little more
はっ
romantically.
きりしなさいよ。姉とはどこまで行ったの？
How far? What's gone on between us and the archives crosses my mind. Hang on, that's at best holding hands and stroking her hair. Gotta think of it if you haven't even kissed. Above all, there's been no confession of
う
love.
まだなんだ。
What are you concluding all by yourself?
いい？
Ikuno waves
よ
her
ー
finger
く
at
聞
me
き
and
な
gives
さ
me
い
a menacing look.
姉に変なことしたら承知しないから。はってでもあんたの部屋に忍び入って寝首をかいてやる。
Do anything weird? Huh? Hang on, what do you mean? There's something different about what you're saying. Didn't you enjoy teasing Monaca?
遅くなって。
Monaca comes into the room late. Because of that, the discussion is interrupted. Ikuno brings the water pitch into her mouth as though nothing
どう
happened.
せ先生捕まえてたんでしょ？
だってもう手術あさってだよ。
やめてよ、みっともない。大した手術じゃないんだから。
でも
恥ずかしいんだからもう。お姉ちゃんは一瞬だろうけど、私は毎日顔を合わせるんだから。
Having been scolded by her sister, Monaca shuts her mouth
気を
displeased.
使わないでいいよ。
Ikuno gives her a warning and backs her up at the same time.
一時的な治療より危険が高いのは認める。でも長期的に見てどちらが得か私が決断したことなのに周りが勝手に盛り上がらないでよ。
What is this? When Ikuno's talking now, just trying to put Monaka's mind at ease. Did not Ikuno want to tease Monaca? Somewhat unpleasant atmosphere is left in the air. With siblings both being silenced, I feel somewhat ashamed as an outsider. I get up from the chair to turn on the television. Ikuno stops
テレビ
me.
は見ないの。光が辛いから。
Speaking of which, this room is quite dark. In other words, that's because of her eyesight that Monaca was talking about.
今日は長く喋ったから疲れた。
Ikuno informs us and lies down. It's hard to not think of her timing coincide. It's hard not to think that her timing coincides with Monaca feeling oppressed as a way of breaking
うん
it.
じゃあ今日はこれで。何かやっといてほしいことは。
Ikuno waves her palm at Monaca to drive her away. Her abruptness makes Monaca despondent. He knew it was impossible. Ikuno does care about Monaca. Monaca leaves the room behind. I follow behind her and go to close the door. I can make out Ikuno
人
mumbling.
の心配ばかりして自分はどうなんだっつうの。
Realizing I'm still here, Ikuno blushes slightly. The embarrassed expression more suitable for one of her age is there are only a moment. She immediately puts on her offended face and looks
同
away.
情するなら献血してけ。献血ルームは2階よ。
I'm drinking a fruit juice from the paper cup through a straw while we're walking. It's sadly nutritious, but such a thing to be traveling through your blood vessels would be a disaster. Can't stop thinking about stuff like that. Despite being with Monaca, the atmosphere didn't feel like one to generate discussion, and lots of meaningless things keep coming to mind. Blood and fruit juice. Well, there's only a minor difference. The result of the wrong one being in your blood vessels would be disastrous. Something about that resembles the meeting between Monaca and myself. It would only have taken a minor happenstance when I was invited to the archives to destroy the relationship we have now. A decision during a minor incident in the past is responsible for the making of for making us who we are now. I wonder what will happen between Monica and myself from now on. I wonder if trifling things we do now, little by little, might bring about major change in the future. Would our relationship change with just a little courage? The two of us have been pigeonholed for a while now. Why did Monica tell me about her little sister? It's the fact that she revealed to me something that she kept secret till now, evidence that she has faith in me. If that's the case, then why does she not touch on the mock-lover relationship we've been having? What's our relationship now? What will happen now? Now, how will it happen? By the way, there's someone I want to talk to you about our lover's pact. Now that I think about it, I asked you to do something absurdly embarrassing, didn't I? Even if I didn't think so, it was at the time. If we discussed things like that. But I wasn't lying about wanting you to help me. If I heard such honest words from her. 13 mile tombstone! Sorry. When classes finish, without making an appointment, Monica and I leave the classroom at the same time and spontaneously walk side by side to the archives. Still feel a bit embarrassed when talking to each other, but we no longer mind people seeing us. I recall how this began, aware of walking with Monica right beside me, going to the archives and back. How did you manage to say such an astounding thing back then? I was the one who said she would... who she said should support her in... I was the one she said should support her in practicing being lovers, but what were her intentions by saying that? As a reliable older sister, she didn't want her younger sister to know she was uncomfortable about guys. I'm sure of that, but what has been on my mind is why she chose me as a partner. Is it because I was close to her by chance, or did she actually see me in that way a little bit? Monica's feelings at the time, perhaps the person herself was aware of her own feelings? I want to know what's going on in Monica's subconsciousness.
Nani?
Oh, my nose is full again already. How fucking quickly is it filling up? I'm already on the second fucking... I don't fucking do anything! I even bother going through the suffering. I'm ready to blow my fucking nose if it doesn't even help anyway. I was intermittently looking at Monica. This was also an unconscious action. Hazily shake my head. It's nothing. We started walking again. I was more or less caught off guard, but I was immediately engrossed in deep thought again. Monica's feelings. I don't think she hates me. But that's a far cry from being liked. Nah, but I can't ask her directly. Asking her what intent was back then is not like asking if she likes me. Besides, it's Monica. She turned back to her reminiscent, frantic I'm sorry mode without even thinking. Then, when she realized what she said, she tastily pointed out that the sorry didn't mean she was rejecting me and apologized again. Yeah, that's likely. If that happens, there's no saving us. Whoops. No, wait. Why does this have to do with such a big deal as some love confession or something? Why don't I tell her my feelings first? No, why is it gonna be a confession? Where are my feelings to begin with anyway? What do I think of Manaka? I thought he was aware at this point.
どうなったかな?
Nah, nothing. I wasn't thinking anything weird. No? But, what? It appears that Monica, immersed in her own in her own thoughts, asks about what's on her mind. Monica puffs out her cheeks and appears a little angry.
もう、昨日書庫で見つけた本のことだよ。
Oh, that. Right, me too, I wonder. The rare book we found in the archives yesterday. We have no involvement in the management of it, and gave the entire responsibility to the library committee.
どっちに転んでも悪いことにはならないと思うけど、
Whichever.
売却することになってもそうじゃなくても、ただ古いからというだけの理由で処分するのは短絡的だって分かっただろうから。
I don't know if the negotiations will be simple, but I guess so. Things turn out okay, huh? A crowd of people are in front of the archives. It looks more like the atmosphere of some work going on than just a group of spectators. Looks like they're carrying things out of the archives from their movements. What on earth? Manaka goes pale and quickly runs off. What's with her all of a sudden? Hastily follow after her.
一体何ですかこれ。
I realize they're taking books out of the archives when I get near. I force my way amongst the people. Hey, hang on. What are you guys up to?
いやー、待ってたよ。
The library committee chairman suddenly appears in front of us. What on earth is this?
いやー、素晴らしい発見だったよ。君たちよくやってくれた。例の作品集については図書委員会で大切に保管させてもらう。
The chairman says while averting his eyes from us. He doesn't look too comfortable giving his speech the opposite meaning of his behavior.
ああ、申し訳ないけど決定されたことは今さら変えられない。でも本が。それについては問題ない。大学の方に選別してもらって一部を寄贈することになったから。
He says and puts his hand on Manaka's shoulder in an overly
よかっ
familiar
た
way.
ね。望み通り価値のあるものは残ることになったよ。
選別。
Manaka mumbles and nothing more comes out of her mouth. I stand there in front of Manaka. Does that mean the book will go unread?
そもそもそんな貴重な書物なら開花なんてとんでもないことだろ。
このチャチのバーコードどうするんですか？
One of the students working calls out and the chairman looks over his shoulder
構わ
at him.
ないから剥がしてくれ。
Manaka's shoulders tremble. What the heck is that? It's true Manaka did start doing it on her own accord, but wasn't there any better way? Seeing her all her hard work being treated as garbage, blood rises to my face when I realize I grab one of the students working. Hey, wait! Wait, I said! Slender arm reaches out to stop me. Manaka grabs me firmly by the
いい
waist.
んです。もう。
Manaka mumbles forward, leaning against my back. But that's... Clinging Manaka and myself look at the work we were making progress on. The hands of people we didn't even know start pulling them off without any hesitation. Our homemade barcodes, the diagonal stickers, the archives where we spent all those days, our memories, like being ripped off from within our souls. It felt almost as painful as having our raw hides ripped off. But it was even more heartbreaking for Manaka, was tolerating it, so I couldn't have a fit over it. Without being able to do a thing, we just stood there watching the barcodes being ripped off one after the other. They were rewinding our work. It was just like the time we had spent being was being erased. Like our relationship was also being erased. I didn't want to think that all that time spent till now was pointless. I didn't want to think that it was the same as if it made no difference whether we had met or not. But there, right before my eyes, was the endless cruelty of it. Manaka, who I could not save from it all, turned her back to the archives and began running away. I reflexively grabbed her hand. With her hand caught behind it, Manaka looked like she was even more in a pose of trying to escape and mumbled.
大丈夫です。問題ないです。でも少し時間をください。
Is there anything I can do to support her? Do I have to leave her alone now? I gradually release her hand. Manaka's hand, then her fingers, then her fingertips gradually slipped through
なんだこれ。
mine. Manaka and I are stopped at our tracks momentarily for a voice within the archives.
これ何のカバ
On hearing this time, Manaka turns the other way and runs back at the archives. Stopping briefly, Manaka then dives headlong into the working student, tackling him to retrieve her cape, pulling her with apparently too much force, her knees buckling, and she landed squatting on the floor. She hugs the cape tightly. Manaka suddenly stands up and runs off, hiding her face. This time I run after her hastily. Manaka runs as far as the courtyard outside the school in one burst before finally stopping. She ran much faster than I thought she was capable of. Manaka stands there hugging her cape silently. Stopped running, leaving a small distance between Manaka and myself.
別に欲しいものじゃなかった。
Manaka keeps mumbling her back
欲
to
し
me.
かったプレゼントじゃなかったの。今年も。でもこのプレゼントは。
Her voice quivers with tears.
今までで一番嬉しかった。
She hugs the cape even tighter. Monica suddenly shows me her feelings. Looking at her quivering shoulders, I close the distance between us and hug her close.
アキくん、優しいから、最初から優しくて、どんどん優しくなって。
That's not true. It's just how Monica sees me on the surface. I wanted to take away her loneliness too.
私、嘘つきなのに隠し事ばかりで、自分の都合ばかり考えていて、なのに高明くんはいつも優しくて、私はもっともっと嘘つきになって。私、どうしたらいいの？高明くんにはもう迷惑かけられない。でもこれからもずっと一緒にいたいなんて思うようになったら、これ以上高明くんに迷惑かけられないのに。
I'm not gonna hesitate any longer since Monica gave me her trust. I turned Monica to face me and just for a moment pressed my lips to hers. Monica holds her breath in astonishment. She's completely wide-eyed. Each and every reaction is absolutely adorable. It's fine by me if you're even more of a bother. There's nothing on earth that could substitute for the memories of the days I spent with Monica in the archives. My feelings became clear the moment I realized that there was nothing more important than our time together. Tears come streaming out one after the other in rapid succession from her upturned face. I draw Monica closer and hug her tightly. Could we possibly accumulate anything more valuable? Monica unreservedly bursts into tears against my chest. Nothing else needs to be said. I just have to let her tears flow away. There's the moment where I can help her wash away some of the pain. Help her wash some of the pain away by hugging her firmly. The gentle sunbeams shine diagonally across the two of us. A soft wind envelops us. We arrive at the hospital room and finally catch our breath. From when we left the school till now, we were under some public gaze or other, and finally we're alone. Our eyes meet and we both avert our eyes flustered. It was the shock of what happened in the archives, but it was helped along by another special incident. All the hours of labor we put in were erased before our eyes. Cover up the emotional scars was not a simple thing. Even if the wounds were half dried by now, we looked at each other for help to heal them. It wasn't just a heartbreaking thing, though. It's a fact that instead we found a new lease on life. The fact that instead we found a new lease on life now thanks to certain events. But that's just it's just self-serving talk. You're finally alone. Those words were gnawing away at my soul. Well, she certainly seems to be okay. Around one other person who sleeps like some wild animal. Monica and I sit with a bed between us. Monica's expression suddenly clouds over, possibly from recalling the event of the archives. She seemed a bit downhearted. I don't want to let her put that expression on. So seated on the chair, I slowly edge the chair over next to Monica. I don't let her mild surprise bother me, and I put my chair right next to hers. Put my mouth close to her stiffening face. Are you okay? I whispered to her and she trembles. Monica nods, hanging her head. Even though she says so, I can't bring myself to nod in that's good fashion. Honestly, the scene at the archives was a shock for me too. Her scars would have been much deeper for her. I want to comfort her. But how? I don't seem to have even the vaguest idea. But I was helped by the momentum of the moment earlier. I was to slowly raise my hand behind the chair. I was talking close to her, so our bodies are close. It would be easy for my hand to reach her. I boldly reach my hand out to Monica's back. Monica startles with my hand around her shoulder. But she's not like it, because she's just startled. The difference between the reactions is subtle. I go to remove my hand apologetically, but I realize that having made it this far, I'm unlikely I must have the courage to do it again. Even Monica freezes. Both of us sit there frozen for a little while. Monica's tension does not ease one bit. Would you be finding this extremely unpleasant? The moment that uneasiness comes to mind, Manaka looks up fleetingly from where she'd been hanging her head all this time. While cowering embarrassingly, she gives me a small glance at intervals. Ikuno's snoring startles both of us. I stare carefully at her and confirm no signs of her waking up. Manaka composes herself and opens her mouth again. Her words come out one by one, hesitantly forming a sentence. She says her face colors and she turns away. She reddens all the way down to her neck. In that moment I realized what she was trying to say. In other words, she wants to kiss again. But in here, Manaka's forelocks quiver as she just barely nods her head. Manaka closes her eyes and turns her face up to me. Her lips start quivering more and more. I desperately try to control my breathing. Seeing Manaka put her all into it, we'll be progressing to not only kissing, but what lays far ahead. There's even a bed, and if I kick Ikuno off it... Jesus Christ! Let me kick this patient off the bed in order to fuck my girlfriend. In contrast to what I'm imagining, my body does not move at all. No, I can't let it get to me now. I hold back my embarrassment and move my hand from Manaka's shoulders to her cheek. An adorable little shriek as she hunches over, and I'm mistakenly sticking my finger in her ear. The startled Manaka withdraws, shivering as if getting cold feet, and puts her hand over her ears. She stares at me with a grudging gaze. What? Manaka pouts sulkily. Oh no, slurping in an inordinate amount of drool, Ikuno suddenly pulls herself up. Having become aware of us by her shriek, we frantically jump back to other ends of the hospital. Ikuno checks us out with half-asleep eyes. Next, her attention is drawn to the two chairs lined up side by side. Oh, she ran off! Ikuno pulls her sheets back over her legs as she eyes me suspiciously. What are you talking about? Huh? That's weird. When she's talking, does that mean? I know intuitively by Ikuno's reaction. You actually worship your older sister, don't you? Ikuno silently covers herself with bed covers. Right? Right? Ikuno stares into space. She sits up in bed, completely vague. It's like a special disease somehow. Manaka puts on a bitter smile while folding the washing. So today is the day of her surgery. Today is the day her surgery is scheduled. Manaka and I took the day off school and rushed over to the hospital. Why I came when the rest of the family didn't is some Manaka kept close to herself. They do that sort of thing before operations. So does that increase her vagueness even more than usual? Every so often, Ikuno looks from here to there in a strange way. She nods. She nods to herself. What are you doing? I've got an amusing idea. Start talking to the vague Ikuno. Ikuno's gutless. This is fun. Ikuno's a wee head. Ikuno's Takaki Oni-chan's servant. Manaka pouts for some reason as she warns me. I'm still going to continue. Takaki Oni-chan is handsome. Why the doubt on that one? Ikuno's eyes gradually come into focus, and then she rubs the haze from her eyes with the back of her hands. Did you just notice now? You're really in a stupor. Without a care about her behavior in public, she opens her mouth wide and yawns. Well, even though I say public, it's just her sister, Manaka, and myself, and it's not like she needs to restrain herself in front of us. When she closes her mouth, she looks at us anew. Did you just notice that now, too?
だからそこまでする必要ないって言ってるのに、間違っても死ぬような手術じゃないんだから。
Don't say that. Can't you see your sister's worried about you?
食うな、特にあんた。どうしてくっついてくるのよ。
Eating the edible gifts in front of Ikuno, who already had to put up with fasting makes her grit her teeth in annoyance. This kinda happens.
そんなこと言っちゃダメだよ。せっかく来てくれたのに。
With the opportunity for a comeback to her sister, Ikuno just puts on a look of being tired of it and just sighs.
まったく、朝っぱらから大げさな。
It's just before noon, you know.
そう？
Ikuno sluggishly pulls the clock on the bench close and tries to focus her eyes on it. There are no wall clocks in this room. I hear that's because having moving things in her field of vision is painful. Even though she has a television, she doesn't turn it on. Actually, there's not even a
時
calendar.
間の感覚なんて適当でいいのよ。2時間くらい誤差の範囲。
Hey, after the operation is over, you're going to school, right? I was thinking ahead to, then.
だから食うな。
小牧育野さん、お時間です。
A little after the planned time, a nurse comes into the room. At the same time, she carries in a stretcher. Ikuno was moved onto the stretcher, still sitting
歩
upright.
いていけるのに。
Yeah, it's just routine. I respond quietly to the offended Ikuno. An identification bracelet is placed on Ikuno's wrist, and she lies down on the
手
stretcher.
術する本人より青ざめてどうするのよ。
Ikuno tells Manaka, who is watching with a worried look. The hidden warmth in the way she coolly shrugs off her sister is to isolate herself is something I now understand. The stationary Ikuno is transported out on the stretcher. Personally, I hope the destination is the dumpster beyond the hospital. Manaka, the nurse, and myself go together. We shall go together. Sorry. Reversal. A lot of it. Manaka is by my side, gripping my hand tightly. She said it's nothing to worry about, whispering into Manaka's ear, returning her hand grip. That's how we enter the patient lift elevator together. We arrive at our destination. The door opens to another expanding corridor after pressing a green button. We go on straight ahead. Again, we pass an automatic door and stop on the other side. There, Ikuno was changing to another stretcher. At that point, the ward nurse, who had been accompanying her, exchanged places with the operating theater nurse. Yes. Yes, we like a good noise outfit. She introduces herself to and confirms her identity with Manaka, who is family. I just see the surgeon in charge of the operation enter the
こ
operating
こまで
room.
です。
We're directed to the waiting room by the nurse. Manaka approaches Ikuno, confined to on the
行
stretcher.
くの？何か頼みたいことある？
頼み？
何でもいいよ。手術が終わってすぐに食べたいものとか。
うん。
She thinks for a moment, then looks up at
食
Manaka.
べ物とかじゃないんだけど、
行ってみて。
桜が見たい。
ご家族の方はこちらに。
The stretcher moves off and circled by the nurses. The door to the operating room closes. The surgery and process light goes on. Cherry blossoms. She's still doing stuff like that? Cherry blossoms fell off the trees a long time ago. She must know that's an unreasonable demand. Jeez, she's so incorrigible. However, Manaka looks at me with a serious face.
本当に知らないのかも。
え？
あの子、目が疲れるって普段から時計もカレンダーも見ないの。
Manaka's face gradually gets
テレ
paler.
ビも見ないし、もしかしたら時期を勘違いしているのかも。
But even if, for argument's sake, that was the case, what should we do? We look at each other. A glimmer of determination appears in her anxious eyes. Serious? Manaka dodges me and runs out of the hospital room. Hey, wait! Jeez!
血圧測定開始します。
あれ、今日何日だっけ？まあいっか。
はい、光の方を見てください。
Manaka, having exited the hospital, follows the usual road to school. It takes lots of small steps to keep up with her hurried pace. Where are you going? Manaka doesn't let up from her brisk pace.
確か堤防沿いに桜並木があったよね。
She answers, still walking without turning around. Even if you look at them for them now, I doubt you'll find them.
あるかもしれない。
They won't.
行ってみないとわからないよ。
Manaka takes a quick look at her
手
watch.
術が終わって包帯を取るまであと3時間。急がないと間に合わないよ。
Manaka plans to do whatever she can if she can as her older sister. But she's already done enough. I'm sure Ikuno didn't want this. Because of her excessive concern on Manaka's face, she just said whatever idea came to her. I said the blossoms would have fallen a long time ago. Shouldn't that end it? Isn't that just some funny story to end things? Not someone will get hurt over. But seeing how serious Monika's face is, it's not like I can tell her that. Just assist, you can't even pull Monika out, struggling in the quagmire. Jeez, that again pisses me off with their throwaway comments. Hey, Monika! It's not that! He's pointing out a different road to Monika. It's my way home, so I know it well. The bank's closer this way. Surely there can't be any cherry blossoms left, even though I know I know there are lines of trees by the road, and that it was a futile exercise. We could do nothing but run to the bank of the river. The result was as expected. Monika frantically looks all around. I'd like to think so, but I know it's her misunderstanding. But we know it's her misunderstanding, so don't you think we shouldn't kill yourself over it? I resolutely tell her, but Monika goes on searching the bank as though she hadn't heard me. Hey, Monika. Call out to her again, she finally stops moving. With her facing away from me, her whispering voice can barely be heard. I understand why she says that. Right, that's the sort of girl she is, which is why I fell in love with her. She runs around for everyone else, not caring about how she looks. Monika starts trembling. She grabs her skirt and her arms grip the bottom tightly. Where to next? Speaking as gently as possible to her, Monika's mouth moves only slightly with her head hanging down. Her voice is getting shaky, with her still facing the other way. I place my hand gently on her head. It's still too early to cry. She grabs her eyes. She rubs her eyes with the back of her hands and her uniform sleeves. Is there anywhere else they say the cherries bloom? Yeah, that's what I thought too. However, since we walk through there every day and I don't recall there being any left, I don't hold much hope. Still, there might be somewhere on the school grounds we don't cover. Besides, right now we can't think of anything anywhere else. Instead of standing around thinking, let's move. We follow our usual school route. However, it feels completely different to normal. If we had gone to school earlier, it might have been faster to get to the riverbank later. Look up the high grounds of the school. The colors of the cherry blossoms are nowhere to be seen. There's already no trace of petals on the hill road, and even where there are cherry trees along the roads of the sides of the road, I don't recall there being any except during spring. Hold on. I crave death. As we approach the school, we both become reticent. We rout school. Being in the middle of class, there's no sign of anyone around. The probability of us finding what we're looking for is that of a miracle. We were both aware of that now. Neither of us speaks for a while. Let's split up. I'll go this way. Let's meet up in the rear garden. After nodding, we run off in opposite directions. Despair starts eating away at my soul. We run around trying to shake off the anxiety and heartbreaking feeling of this nightmare. Were there any? Monika shakes her head lifelessly. Monika doesn't ask me back. She could tell that I had failed to find anything as well when I questioned her. Let's go around once more. This time I'll go that way. Monika nods. Her response was already faltering. Once again, we meet on the other side of the gate. What the fuck? Just by looking at these others' expressions, there was no need to say anything. We have no choice but to accept that we can do no more. The recess bell rings. The hustle and bustle of each class pours out. We leave school to move away from the pressure of the oncoming students. Our feet automatically head towards the hospital. Part of the route is the same as the road to school. We walk side by side down the hill road away from the school. It's just like prisoners being taken to our place of execution. The air around us is stale without melancholy, and nothing is said. Monika's melancholy is particularly profound, with her dragging her feet unsteadily. The road here intersects with a national highway and is often used by cars to cross the hill. Monika is drawn to the road like scattering leaves blown by the wind as a dump truck speeds up, passing her by. She walks out too far onto the road, with the next one closing in on her. Monika! I grab her hand and pull her in just in time. My heart almost stops at the instant. That was close. Start breathing again. My heart is pounding away madly. Monika vacantly stares into space, being held in my arms. She's completely unaware that she was about to be run over. Manaka! I release her, and when she sees me drop to my knees, she finally seems to understand why I pulled her hand. She shows me a faint smile. Oh, please. Seeing her show no awareness of the impending danger and constantly put my hand on my forehead. I can't stand it. I decide to use force. I grab Monika's shoulder and pull her away from the roadway. Monika stares at me blankly and finally puts on a bitter smile. Enough! My mind isn't at rest. Eventually, without further resistance from Monika, we again walk side by side. After just a few steps, Monika again looks like her spirit has been drained away. She looks like she's completely rejecting all thoughts and feelings. Monika abruptly stumbles. Having anticipated that, I adeptly reach out and grab her arm. You're not alright. Looking down to see what she stumbled on, there's a small broken off twig. There's still a white flower attached to the twig. Could it be? As I'm bending down, the expectation starts vanishing. This has to be too good to be true. Above what looked like a cherry blossom flower was instead awfully small golden pistils crowding together in bloom. The branch looked like it was from a cherry tree, but what was blooming there couldn't have been a cherry blossom tree. There were a lot more flowers than those of a cherry tree. Monika says, apparently thinking the same thing as me, picking up the white flowers. The twig is still green. Look up to try and find a branch with the same flowers on it along the road. It was broken off by a passing car. Monika looks at the tree outline for a while and then starts walking again. Monika continues to hold the twig in her hand. Igor was in her room. Hasn't finished yet. Monika silently enters the room and grabs a single cup. She fills it with water and puts the twig in it. The flower looked pitiful. Was it even alive? Was it just something to distract yourself with? Or was it meant to fool Ikonor into thinking it was a cherry blossom with her bandages on, when her bandages came off? Couldn't say anything. Her distorted expression looks like she was trying to smile. Monika leaves the room without any further comment about the twig. She didn't intend to fool her, but perhaps she was just hoping that she just hoped that she might mistake it for a cherry blossom. Just like when she invited me to the archives. We leave the hospital without waiting for the operation to be over. We go to descend the hill, however Monika turns to the opposite direction and heads to the school. Now, Monika starts climbing the hill, drawn by whatever it was. We repeat the trip from the school to the hospital in reverse. She didn't say I was to accompany her. I follow and she does not refuse my company. Monika trudges along up the road as though she's not seeing or feeling anything. The sun had already started setting. We head straight to the archives after arriving at school. It's already after school. In fact, it's just after time to head home. Seems no work was done today, given that the inside of the archives is still in the half-demolished state it was yesterday. Just that pitiful state alone is enough to bore a deep hole in my heart. With me catching my breath at the cruel spectacle, Monika shuffles quickly to the archives. Yeah, I guess. Seems incredibly composed. The clatter of the tableware, etc. being collected goes on. In and around the kitchen is Monika's sanctuary. I crane my neck towards where the sounds are coming from while I sit down and nervously fidget on the sofa. Need a hand? I have no choice but to sit there obediently. However, just being here, I can't relax.
Yoいしょっと。
I'm just about to call out to her once more when Monica returns carrying a bag and drops it in front of me. That's one mountain of sweets. There's enough there to literally cover the whole table, and a few roll off onto the ground. She points to that
お
mountain.
菓子かさばるから食べちゃおう。
Yeah, she managed to save up this many. Even if there was an earthquake, we wouldn't have any trouble with food. We just need to come to the archives. That's just for today.
さあ召し上がれ。
Monica opens up the packets one after the other. Hey, that many at one
大
time?
丈夫だってば。二人がかりな遠慮しないでちゃんちゃん食べてね。
Monica proceeds to take the initiative about stuffing her own cheeks. It's just like some small animal eating up big in preparation for hibernating for the winter. She chews away with her mouth stopping for a moment. I simply watch her dumbfounded.
おいしい。
She's eating a complete daze. She doesn't even care about the chocolate smearings around her mouth. Hang on, this is all very odd. Hey. Stress eating. She stuffs in the sweets one after the other. It's a medley of chocolate and potato crisps. She's completely unaware of what she's even eating. Even while she's choking, she forces yet more down. Hey! I unconsciously raise my voice to stop her. I don't see the expression of her upturned face. I'm at a loss for words. Monica was stuffing sweets in till her cheeks were swollen, all the while her face was has tears welling up. Monica, what on earth are you eating? What are you chewing on? Swallowing, Monica. Monica is crying while still having a smile on her face, as though she doesn't even notice her own tears.
どうしたの高明くん。ほら、こんなにたくさん残ってるよ。こんなにいっぱい。
The tears trace the outlines of her cheeks from the corner of her eyes down.
私の前からなくして。
I hug her tight, climb over the table and push away all the sweets. I was so forceful that I hold her in the air. Adorable, sorrowful, I hug her. Monica's shoulders are trembling, like a little bird with wet wings. She raises her voice, weeping. I'm so mortified by her crying voice, I feel crushed. Mortified, I hug her even more. Lamenting ceases without a sound, and I can sense her pounding heart from within my arms. Somehow she seems to have calmed down. However, before long it's replaced by silence. I just spontaneously hugged Monica, but now what should I do? I have nothing concrete in mind. My mind is completely blank. I hear words of encouragement and reticence at the same time ring in my ears, and who knows what language. I want to comfort her. Closely following that feeling, I have but one more thought. Fragile Monica, I want to start taking advantage of her. I want to more deeply be connected with her, after she manages to cry without restraint before me. While still hugging her without being glued to her, I have just enough room and I cautiously start touching her, over and over. This is to warn her of my intentions, over and over. No longer able to return to the path I've taken, I pray. The opportunity was purely coincidental. However, the lie we keep saying will become a truth. In this place, we're always together. We've gotten to know each other's hearts, wholeheartedly repeating it every day. That was the real thing in our hearts. This is no rehearsal. I sense her breath. I'm about to move forward now. That I've decided. If I touch her first, like this here, I put the palm of my hand on the outline of Monica's soft breast. Monica, who was restraining her nervousness, starts trembling more and more. The stiffness in Monica's body shortly afterwards fades away. What am I doing at a time like this? Nope. If I've come this far, I can't pull out now. However, can I use all my might to do this? Suddenly I lose confidence in my own reactions. While hugging her, I speak to her. If you don't like this, it's a little hard. The sound of that was audible. However, there was no reply from Monica. Perhaps she didn't hear me. I'm suddenly overwhelmed by uneasiness. At last, Monica shakes her head side to side. I'm not sure if that's a response, or if it's okay or not okay. So what I mean is, what I'm trying to say, if you don't want to, I'll still be your...
高明くん、やめる言い訳ばかり。
I like how even she's like, stop fucking coming up with Johns. I sensed a snigger. I feel like it should be a snicker. Surprised to look down at
ま
Monica.
るで私が男の子みたい。
She's holding her head down, so I can just make out her expression. And sure enough, she puts on a troubled smile. Are you okay with it? She nods just below my chin, and she speaks
い
faintly.
やじゃない。
The nape of her neck goes redder.
嫌じゃない。本当だよ。嫌じゃないからじっとしてるの。
It's really okay? My own voice is shaking like someone else's.
これ以上
Her voice
言わ
vanishes.
せないで。
I gulp. The next moment, with an incredible surge of vigor, I push Monica down on the sofa. Okay, I go to strip off Monica's clothes. My fingers unable to undo the buttons very well, unable to restrain that tantalizing feeling I expose Monica's breasts. Monica lets a little sound slip out. Okay, I feel like at this point I could just...
いきなり
I'm not reading out any of this. Yep, H scene officially go. BRB. Alright, I think they're done. And I just want to point out this line here. Crushing her feminine modesty is unbearably enjoyable. Was a line during this H scene. What the fuck? The last message of the sun set on the horizon, and outside it's painted the maddened red. It's already way past the library closing time. There's no sign of anyone around here. We finish preparing to leave and both crane our necks to the door with the archives to see if there's any sign of anyone having heard our intimacies.
誰もいないみたい。
Looking for signs of them after the fact is pointless. Monica stretches out and moves from the archives into the library. I grab my bag and follow her. It's close to time to go home. The courtyard is separated by the school building, so the hustle and bustle outside is far off. Monica absentmindedly looks around the vacant parts of the library room. From her profile, she seems to be getting gloomy again. Spotting me looking at her, Monica hastily forces a smile.
こうして見ると結構余裕がありそうだよね。書庫の本もあと少しは詰め込めるかな。
He's trying overly hard to lighten the
棚の隙間
atmosphere.
にでも押し込んじゃおうかな。
He says and glances at me and smiles.
狭いところにこうキューッと高明くんが私にしたみたいに。
Monica, you're slipping! But I intentionally hint at what I was thinking. From a guy's point of view, one would have thought you enjoyed it. Monica flushes immediately at the teasing remark.
そんなに良さそうだった？
Yeah. I nod without hesitation. Monica sandwiches her red face between both her hands.
やだ、それ誤解だよ。
No, I don't think I misunderstood. But I won't say that. Reminds me, I haven't seen you working at the reception desk.
だって高明くん図書カード作りにも来ないし。
Monica goes around to inside the counter and sits down.
はーい、何を貸し出しますか？
Monica acts out her expression.
雑誌？それともだし？
This time she seems to have noticed her slip. Monica blushes yet again and clears her throat. Finally she comes around from the counter as though nothing happened.
じゃあ行こうか。
Miss Library Committee Member! I will borrow Miss Library Committee Member. I sidle up towards her. Monica steps backwards.
学校ではダメだ
But
よ。
we already did it. Can't we do it once more?
高明くん、私の話聞いてない。
Monica's bottom comes up against the counter.
誰か来るよ。
Library is closed. Placard is already up.
さっきのは初回特典ね。やっぱり学校では良くないよ。
I shuffle my way even closer. Monica slowly leans back more and more.
それに高明くん見境なくしそう。
Monica tries to avert her blushing face and hesitantly looks to check out my expression. I don't intend to use words to persuade her anymore. I draw closer, till both our bodies are glued against each other up against the counter. Stay silent like that. And then he gets away. Sure enough, an anxious tone of voice comes from Manaka. You're still feeling a little gloomy? You want to go with him? So they aren't done. She squirms uncomfortably. The face she's trying to hide from me gets even redder. The hangover, Manaka. Yep, they're still not done. BRB. I've been tricked, I tell you. Tricked! Anyways, now they actually are done. Since they're, outside. Then again, what's gonna stop them from fucking up against the fucking telephone pole over there? Monica and I leave behind the school and walk side by side down the hill route home. Double-barreled for the first time. We feel somewhat embarrassed and have nothing to say to each other. Eventually, we end up in front of the hospital that Iko's in. Monica looks only briefly to the side at the hospital as we pass it by. Iko's bandages come off tomorrow. Even after I've gotten home, I can't get the image of Monica in front of the hospital out of my head. I wonder if she's okay. I wonder if thinking of my actions as consoling her was just conceited. Unable to think of anything else, I decided to call Monica at home. I hold up the telephone contact book in my hand. Sorry for calling so late. I'm Monica's classmate, Kono. It's Monica. I see. No, it's not important enough to wake her for. Camp, sorry for calling so late. Doesn't look like I need to worry about her wandering around at midnight trying to find cherry blossoms. Seems she went to sleep. Relieved, I start feeling sleepy. I'll retire to my own room and sleep too. Early next morning, I head to class early as always. I sit in my appointed seat and wait for Monica to come. When Monica enters the room, I wonder what sort of look she'll have on her face. First morning after we've made love, can I face her directly without being embarrassed? Not being able to keep Ikono's promise, will she have a depressed expression? The warning bell rings and the morning hustle and bustle begins. However, I don't see Monica. Maybe she'll be taking today off? Surprisingly, at the end of the confusion, Monica comes into the room through the ajar door. When I see her, I note her expression is no different to usual. Doesn't look like anything special happened. Also unusually ordinary looking that I hesitate to call out to her. However, I can no longer speak like that. I approach Monica's seat, prepare myself for just a moment to call out to her. But Komaki, good morning. It's not just the expression in her eyes, but her attitude that is incredibly normal compared to our relationship that was positively cold. No, nothing. With that usual sort of response, I was confused about what I should do. She tells me and has already returned to preparing for class. Unable to say anything more, I return to my seat feeling dejected. For one period, I sit there with my chin resting on my hands, staring vacantly at Monica. Even during class, Monica's appearance continues with that unchanging attitude. It's far too normal. In contrast, it makes me all the more anxious. Second period. Third. Took until the end of fourth period for there to be any change. Monica starts acting strangely. She's fidgeting and it makes her look uneasy. Others notice it as well and makes the girls behind her concerned, to which she just puts on a bitter smile and gives out it's nothing to worry about, shake off her head. However, she soon starts looking at the ornamental clock on the wall and out the window. The period ends before the appointed time. While the teacher is dismissing the class, Monica forgets about lunch and leaves the classroom. I hastily get up from my seat too and follow. The corridor is still empty, as it's easy to follow the sound of Monica's footsteps. I leave the school building and follow after her. Monica stands out in the empty rear garden and starts looking around in sections. Monica, being called to from behind, Monica shrugs her shoulders, surprised. Then she timidly turns around to me. He just stands behind her like fucking tapping his foot. Manaka, the fuck do you think you're doing? She welcomes me with a troubled combination of smiling and crying. She still hasn't given up. That's right, I should have known. I mean, it's Manaka after all. The closer the time got to her sister's bandages coming up, the more she lost her composure. I blink repeatedly at the suddenly cryptic words.
飴も舐めてないよ。
She continues with a serious look, just completely confused by what it is though.
何かを犠牲にしたらきっといいことがあるってそう思ったの
Monika's
に
gaze is flickering nervously and she can't relax while she's
こん
told.
なはずじゃ
Female student just happens to spot her as she passes by and Monika trots over to her.
桜知りませんか
The girl she accosts stares at her blankly.
桜どこかにあるはずなんですけど
Monika, stop it! Excuse me, it's not. Excuse it, it's nothing. About the girl and turn to
ど
Monika.
うして誰か知ってるかもしれないよ桜の
From the
咲いてる場
bottom
所
of her heart, Monika oddly inclines her head.
人に聞くのは別に恥ずかしいことじゃないよ高木くん意外と人見知りするんだ
Monika smiles at me, but that smile is very fleeting. Monika moves away from me and calls out.
ありませんか桜誰か知りませんか
Monika.
咲いてるところこの近くで誰か
Monika! Monika turns to me with the expression of an innocent
ど
little
うし
girl.
たの
Don't be so hard on yourself. Monika stares at me, stare back at her silently. Eventually, Monika's expression starts to quiver.
桜と間違えてくれるんじゃないかって
Quivering lips.
包帯をしていくのがあの枝を桜だと思ってくれないかって私
Composure starts to crumble.
みたいそんなのすぐバレることなのにないならないって
Monika clenches her fists tightly and hangs her head in shame.
私行くのを騙した
That's not true. That part I violently object to. You didn't want to make her sad, did you? You had no ill feelings when you sent her off to the operations, did you? I don't expect her to accept it, but at least if I can silence her. However, Monika shakes her head in denial, still looking down.
私格好つけたかっただけ姉としていいとこ見せたかっただけなの嘘までついてそのくせ桜もない昼までにすり替えればいいかってでもどこを探したらいいか思いつかなくてもし見つかっても今からじゃ間に合わない間に合わないの
Monika breaks down crying. She can't say anything. Enough. No, that's her saying that. Monika hangs her head and hides her face in both palms. She wipes the stream of tears that won't stop.
最初からそうだったんですそれを何もかも無駄だったんですよ
As she weeps, her speech wavers more and
何
more.
頑張ったって私には何もできないんです妹の望みも聞いてあげられません肝心な時に役に立たないんですないの何もできない何もありません
Sentence got shorter and Monika squats down her ears. Tears come welling up like a fountain. Sound is drowned out by the bell. I want to reject Monika's words, to tell her that everyone loves her, that she's needed by everyone. But if I tell her that now, it'll not get through to her heart. Just words alone for such an important thing would just sound cliched. I'm the one who feels helpless here. Even though Monika's in pain, there doesn't seem to be anything I can do. Monika's student handbook falls out of her hands. She doesn't even notice that. Her handbook rolls onto the ground face down. That's it. Shadow blossoms are there. It's too soon for them to be crushed. The blossoms that herald spring were in there. Pick up the student notebook. Inside was name after name after name. They're all people that Monika has helped. If I trace my fingers on the black writing in there, the very path that Monika was walking all this time is evident. Ahead for the school grounds. There's no way that Monika had been doing there. What Monika has been doing till now is futile. I'm going to prove that to her. Networking. That is actually a nice effect. Petals flutter in the air. Cherry blossoms colored petals. From school building windows, from the rooftops, they're fluttering all over. Word passes around from person to person. It spreads throughout the school in an instant. The girls who heard about it from each of the classroom and corridor windows, or the wire fencing from the rooftops. Their school uniforms, ties cut up. Cherry blossoms colored ties thrown into the skies. For the sake of Monica, who worked unconditionally for the sake of the people. The students who were helped by Monica, flying around. Their cut up ties from their gathered palms, flying on the wind from the windows and roof. Enough petals to fill the heavens. By no means were they ever walking in the desert alone. And in credits?
どんな感じだい？
Not yet.
痛みとかは？
いえ、ありません。
じゃあ、包帯を取るよ。いいかね。
はい。
ゆっくりと目を開けて。眩しい？まだよく見えないかな。
はあ。先生、姉の話を聞いてもらえますか？
お姉さん、よく看病に来られていた？
ええ、ちょっと泣き虫だけど、多分世界一の姉です。
Can someone translate that? Can someone translate that? Can someone translate that? Someone translate that? And that? Probably the third one as well. That one as well, of course. That's a nice CG. And we actually do see the MC right there. Huh. Then the anime has even less of a reason to give him black hair instead of the brown one. Anyways, welcome to our school. Congratulations on enrolling.
行くの？おめでとう。何よ、改まって。
Ikuno intentionally puffs her cheeks out through a smile as she's pushed on in her wheelchair. The operation in her eyes was a success. Progress has continued to be good, and she's strong enough to attend our school. Congratulations!
おめでとう。はいはい。どうもご丁寧にありがとうございました。これでいいんでしょ？
Ikuno gives off an unimpressed response in contrast to our excitement.
まったく二人して。今更だけどさ。
Ikuno looks up and slightly turns to us. An embarrassed look crosses her face.
桜、ありがとね。
At Ikuno's meek words, we both go wide-eyed and look at each other.
いや、それは高明くんのおかげだから。
No, it's no big deal, really. Look, I just thought it might look like cherry blossoms from below with the sun above. Besides, that was thanks to Monika's popularity.
何勘違いしてるの？これよ、これ。
Ikuno frowns and opens the book she's holding to show us. Inside is a familiar-looking pressed flower.
しおり？
That was the one you arranged in the hospital
そう
room.
よ。押し花にしたの。
To be honest, that's,
ごめんなさい。それ、本当は桜じゃなくて。
何言ってるのよ。これも立派な桜でしょ。
We look at each other at Ikuno's words. A mountain cherry. According to Ikuno's explanation, there's a wild cherry tree that appears to bloom till much later. In the end, Monica managed to keep her promise as requested.
それで、今日はどこに連れてくつもりなの？
ToHeart2 school!
転入生の世話は委員長の役目だから。
姉までそんなこと言って、だいたいクラスも学年も違うでしょ？
Alright already.
いいからいいから。
なんか、結託してない？
Little gratitude here. Your older sister did constantly fight to protect you.
いや、もう先に言っちゃダメだよ。
Yeah, but given how much trouble you went to, do you want to just get such a pathetic response?
ダメそれでもダメ人の背後でイチャつかないでくれるもう
Turned out to be a little smaller than we had planned, though. The barcode. You see the black book on top of the red book is a cunning visual interpretation of intercourse. Just kidding. I just literally pulled that out of my ass. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. You know what? Hold on. Let's do the usual. Kono Takaki. Just press the skip button. I don't know what I'm doing. We don't do the opening here. Jesus Christ. Home. ToHeart2 route guide. Home. Phone home. Why is it why is it recommending your fucking route planner? That's not what I need. Anyways, God, okay, this is kind of not that good page for that. I should skip again, right? Our total is 9. 6 from the start, 2 unlockables after 1 round is completed, and 1 unlockable after 2 rounds are completed. Game as a map says I guess next up, doing Ru, I guess. Okay, that is interesting. Here we go with shopping district, I guess, apparently. Actually, honest to God, Should I just do Konomi right now? Because, like, a bunch of these fucking guides are always like, oh, pick all the Konomi events. Pick all the Konomi events. So if I just pick all the Konomi events, I can just follow the fucking guides for any of the other routes. Now that, you know, that, fuck it. That's the plan now. That's the fucking plan. Fucking return to sender. Fuck. Can't do that here. I need to actually first start a goddamn scene. Return the title. Start. Skip. Well, not skip immediately. First name the character. That's kind of important. Skip. No. just hard deny. Fucking blue ball the opening. But yeah, I guess I'm doing Konami early. Just because I just want to be able to fucking follow the guides, you know? Because it's all, every guide starts with school gate, how about amusement park, shopping district. Like every single one of them starts with that sequence of events. So I don't know for which of them it's actually needed and for which it isn't. I know the first school gate I can just skip because I've viewed the first one at least. But yeah, Konami next. Just because fucking refused to leave me alone. At least the guide refused to leave it alone. Fair. That's fair to say. I don't even need to sit here anymore and do this, actually. I can just move on, quite frankly. Probably should, actually, yeah. Should, yeah. There's apparently like 2 different endings for Konomi, one being the friend and one being the lover's ending. Which, fair enough. Anyways, so yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye-bye. Don't know if I'll be recording tomorrow. Like, sure, I have work from 11 to 3 p.m. However, I might still just be tired and just go to bed afterwards and just forget to record. So, no promises about tomorrow. I feel bad. Talking is hard. Anyways, see ya.